What is up, YouTube? Thank you all for your tremendous support on this Q&A video. I got so many questions on Twitter, on Instagram that it actually surprised me a little bit. So I won't be able to go through all of them because the video would probably be an hour long and you guys know how I like to talk, but I am going to go ahead and answer as many as I can. So I got my phone here. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through, pick some questions at random, read them out to you guys, give whoever answered the question a shout out and answer it to the best of my ability. I will try, disclaimer, I'm gonna try to keep these answers as short as I can without rambling. I know I've done some of these in the past and I tend to talk for like 7 minutes on a question. I don't want to do that. I want to try to get to as many as I can. So let's get started. No more fluff. Let's do it. Alright, question number 1 from Danielle Carpenter on Instagram. If you could change anything about your fitness journey, what would it be? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Where I'm at now, where I am at in life, I would not change a thing because everything that I've done so far has got me to this point where I'm at right now. And I could not be more blessed, more happy, more satisfied with my life. But if there was something I could change and still have a similar outcome to this, it would be that in the beginning, I wish I would have had a better understanding of nutrition. I wish that I would have had like somebody to work with that could have given me a meal plan or a rough idea of how to eat, right? Because I noticed my best results when I got my first 6-pack and I really started noticing the cuts and like, definition of my shoulders and stuff like that and true growth when I actually watched my nutrition. In the beginning, the guys I had help me were awesome, but they really didn't know much about nutrition either. They were mainly just like train hard, eat clean, chicken and rice, and that's it. I didn't understand flexible dieting. I didn't understand macros, didn't understand any of that. And I wish that I would have known that stuff sooner. I'd probably have better results now. I'd probably be a bigger guy, have more muscle now if I would have followed that stuff from the beginning, but that's a minor gripe. I love where I'm at, and yeah, if I could change, I wouldn't change anything, but if I could change one thing about my fitness journey, it would be a better understanding of the nutrition aspects earlier on in my journey. So, good question. All right, question from Chad Gonzalez Fitness on Instagram. What do you do when you're really craving, for example, a ton of sugar when you're trying to cut and stay on your diet? So I've talked about this before. I have a very bad habit of binging, right? Very, very bad habit of binging. And that's just a problem I've had really my entire life and was one of the reasons I was so out of shape before I started lifting is because I loved to binge on food. I think that's part of my life I was kind of semi-depressed and food was always a way, it's an aphrodisiac, it was a way to just make me feel good. And I come from a family where my dad always made us clean our plates and I had no understanding of not eating until I was absolutely stuffed. Like there was never like, okay, you can eat half of it and put the other half away. If I didn't, my dad would get really mad and say, you better eat that, boy. I got that all the time. So I think from the moment I was born up until now, that's one of the reasons I struggle with binge eating is because it was so ingrained in me at an early age. But what I do now, right? I have some videos back on my channel that kind of outline this a little bit, but I have healthy snacks that I don't want to say healthy, but I have snacks I go to that are very minimal in calories. And if I really am having that craving, I will go for one of those. So like, let's say a Halo Top. You see me eat those in my videos, right? Those are only 240 calories. That gives you the feeling like you're eating actual ice cream without blowing your entire diet just by having one of those, right? Because most of the time when I'm cutting, I'm in a deficit of either 500, 600 calories. So one of those, I'm still that day in a deficit. So I'm still reaching my goals. I'm still burning fat, but I was able to satisfy that craving when it was there. Now, if I want to be super strict and I don't want to have any extra calories, really, sugar-free popsicles, I had 3 of those last night. I think they had like 10 calories a piece in them. Those are good. Sugar-free Jell-O, 5 calories a piece, and you can have 3 or 4 of those to satisfy your needs. Really, the breakfast video I posted yesterday, the Ultimate Power Breakfast, stuff like that, you can incorporate into your macros, makes you feel like you're eating something sweet, and you don't even have to deviate from your plan. So those are some of the things I do. I plan on doing another video here soon where I go through all like low-calorie snack options and stuff that I employ when I'm cutting because we're back on that grind. So I will do another video on that soon. But basically, it's just finding ways to keep you satiated because most of the time when you're cutting, you're having these cravings for intense, like when I'm bulking, for instance, right? Or if I'm just eating kind of whatever, I don't have cravings really for like Oreos, for like sweets or anything in particular. But when you're cutting, as soon as you tell yourself you can't have something, your body like almost seeks it out out, like just mentally, like, you know, you can't have that. So then boom, your body's constantly scanning everything. Like, I want that, I want that, I want that. But really, it's kind of just a battle with you and your brain. Your brain's just trying to play tricks on you because it knows you're in a calorie deficit. It's trying to get you to eat something for survival purposes, right? So really, if you can just turn that switch off by having something a little sweet, and usually just you just need a little bit of something and it'll make that go away. As long as you don't turn it into a full out binge, I think you're good to go. So anyways, that question's answered. Thank you, by the way. All right, and my next question comes from Kareem's weight loss journey on Instagram, and that is protein powder necessary for weight loss? Absolutely not. Completely not necessary at all. The thing about protein powder, right, and I get some people that like, so I work with a lot of clients and I get some that don't want protein powders in their plan at all. They don't want to take shakes at all. My thing with protein shakes is, right, most diets you're going to be on, unless you're on a crazy keto diet or something where you're not really watching your protein, most bodybuilders, if you want a good aesthetic physique, obviously your protein requirements are going to be higher than someone just kind of eating haphazardly. So a lot of diets and a lot of clients I work with, males in particular, we're eating 200 plus grams of protein a day. So I know I have about 240, 250. In actual meat, eggs, protein, animal sources, that's a lot of protein if you're eating all meat. So protein shakes are a quick, easy way to get like, 25 to 50 grams of protein, depending on if you do 1 or 2 scoops, really fast and really efficiently. So that's just kind of a way to cut down on prep and cooking time. I find personally that when I don't have shakes, I tend to get a little bit better of results. I don't know, and some of this could be mental too, but I think, eating the real food, I tend to stay fuller longer and better. So maybe if you're on a really big calorie deficit, cut the protein shakes out, simply because I think you'll feel more full and more satiated not having them. But like here lately, for instance, my groceries have been a little limited. I have not went and gotten groceries in a while. I've been so busy with the new year and clients and everything. So I've been actually, before I got on this, I had a protein shake. And it seems to be working fine for me, so absolutely not required. In the end, it comes down to your macronutrient consumption. So the amount of grams in protein, the amount of grams in fat, the amount of grams of carbs you're consuming regularly. So really not necessary for fat loss whatsoever, but you can fit them into your overall plan or nutritional guidelines, then yeah, they can be very beneficial and save you a ton on prep. The thing is, protein shakes kind of get a bad rap sometimes because I think people think they're just this magic shake you're gonna take. And a lot of people, when they start lifting or trying to do this or whatever, they think, oh, just because you have the protein shake, it makes you lose weight. But in the end, a protein shake contains calories. If you have more calories than your body needs in a day, you're gonna gain weight. If you have less calories than your body needs in a day, you're gonna lose weight. It's that simple. So depends on how you utilize them. Thank you for the question, by the way. All right, this next question from Jen Foods on Instagram. 1, have you ever thought about being a bodybuilder? And 2, it's a 2-part question, I guess. As you said in the video once, are you thinking about making more cooking videos? Love your videos and vlogs. Aw, thank you. Okay, so first part of that question, ever thought about being a bodybuilder? Here's the thing, right? Obviously, I think when I first started, that's like what I wanted to be, was a bodybuilder. But I think that there's different ways to approach this entire lifestyle, right? Some people are competitors, like my buddy Nate. Like that dude needs to compete. That's just kind of what he is. He's an athlete, awesome genetics. Everything's just, I don't want to say it's easy for him because that discounts the hard work he puts in, but he's got it easy when it comes to this whole lifestyle, right? Whereas someone like me, I'm not really genetically gifted as far as getting big. I cut fast, but it's because I'm meticulous with my diet. I don't really have the best genetics for cutting, the best genetics for bulking. I just don't think, looking at it from a big picture perspective, that I have the genetics to be a good competitive bodybuilder. Now, I think that if I really focused on it, I could compete. Do I think I'd win? I don't know. Especially not with some of these pros out here. These guys are just monsters. So I tend to find the fitness lifestyle works best for me when I am motivating other people to get healthy. So I think that I was put on this planet for more than just competing and taking shirtless pictures and posting them on the internet. I think that I was sent here to inspire people, to motivate people, and to teach people that if the card you are dealt in life, you are not forced to play that hand every time. You can completely throw those cards away, grab another deck, and start fresh. And I know some of you might be new subscribers and you might not really get what I'm saying, but all I'm trying to say is that in a nutshell, I was never like this for the longest part of my life. And it took me finding fitness, finding this lifestyle to really become a happier, better person. You know, I've struggled with depression, I've struggled with self-image issues, and I still struggle with this stuff, right? But I just don't let it define me as a person. And I really feel like I've found my place in this world. So do I think about being a bodybuilder? I've thought about it, but I think that for me to focus my energy on that would take away from this ultimately. And this is what I love. So thank you for the question. What was the second part of that? Have you thought about doing more cooking videos? Just look at my channel the last 2 weeks. I think that'll answer your question, which is a yes, Okay. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. All right, next question on Instagram as well from Parker JP44. I'm just starting back to the gym and weight cutting, so I'm having issues getting my cardio in from being so winded. What are good ways to make sure I get the cardio in? I try to hit 5 to 10 minutes jump rope or 25 to 30 minutes elliptical, but legs give out too soon. All right, well, basically, in a nutshell, without even trying to sound like, I don't even, what's the way to put it, a butthead, the best way to make sure you get your cardio in is to get your cardio in. No excuses. I find it very hard to believe that your legs would give out from 25 to 30 minutes on an elliptical. Obviously, I don't know your situation. I don't know if you have any injuries. I don't know if you weigh 300 pounds and it's very hard for you to move like that. But cardio in and of itself is just getting your heart rate up for an extended period of time. So you don't even necessarily have to be on an elliptical. You can be jumping up and down. You can do whatever gets your heart rate up. You can go walk a hill, something like that. You know, I think that when people say their legs give out, I can't do this much, I think more of that is less a reflection of your inability to do it and more a reflection of your inability to get your mind willing to do it, if that makes sense. So I do 40 minutes every day, no matter what. And I mean, I'm a skinny guy. My cardio is pretty good. And it's just something I do, but it wasn't always the case. I used to smoke cigarettes, I used to party all the time. My cardio was garbage, but I made my mind up one day of what I was gonna do to get to where I wanted to be, and that required cardio, and that's why I do cardio. So what do I recommend you do to get it in? Just get it in. Nice question, thank you, by the way. And then let's switch over to Twitter now for some more questions. Hopefully I'm not answering these too long. You don't really know until I go to edit, but I try to be thorough. All right, question from DeWizKid. When doing carb cycling, do you do your heaviest lifting day on your high carb day? Okay, so I've heard this methodology before and I've read the science on it and I totally agree with it, right? When you're in a low carb state, your metabolism adjusts to that, your ability to put on muscle kind of goes down when you're cutting. It's really hard to put on muscle in a caloric deficit unless you are a newbie to lifting. And the thing about the high carb days is usually you're hitting either maintenance, you're going in a caloric surplus. Those extra carbohydrates are extremely anabolic when they hit. So they say to work your weakest muscle part on high carb day, that way you maximize gains. Yes, I've heard about this before, but usually I'm training so much that I don't really prioritize it. Now I know on my 10,000 calorie challenge day, I want to say I did like legs that day or something because I knew that I was going to have that many calories and I'm like, hey, legs are probably my weakest point. But I just don't really, I don't really schedule it out that much. I just kind of still go to the gym and work whatever. The way my split works, I don't lift the same thing every Saturday. So I would assume on my high carb days, I'm just rotating in and out of different body groups. So I do think there'd be more of a benefit if I did that, but I'm at a point right now where I don't really care. I just kind of lift and do my thing. So good question though. Thanks, man. Appreciate all the support, by the way. All right, guys, I apologize. My camera just died, so I had to switch the battery out. Anyways, back to these questions. All right, another Twitter question from Gary Manis. We saw some of your videos on intermittent fasting. Are you currently doing intermittent fasting? How often do you do it? And do you feel it's best for fat loss? So my take on intermittent fasting, right? I was a huge proponent of it on my last cut. I felt like it helped me immensely control hunger cravings. I'm still practicing IF. If you watch any of my vlogs, you have seen that. And I do think it's beneficial for fat loss. Now, I don't think that it's this crazy thing where you start intermittent fasting and let's say you have 2 days, for example, right? Both of those days you're gonna need 1,800 calories. And one day you do intermittent fasting and eat all your food within an 8-hour window, and the other day you space it out and have all your meals throughout the course of the day. I don't think that if you differentiate between the two that you're gonna have crazy results with IF and not results with the other thing. I think that it might help you burn fat maybe 5% more. That might even be a little much. The biggest reason I like intermittent fasting is, for one, there's a certain period of time throughout the day that I don't have to think about food. I don't gotta wake up and go, oh my God, I gotta eat right away. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that, and there's some people I know that wake up in the middle of the night and have a protein shake, so not me. But I used to wake up, obsess about meal 1, obsess about meal 2, and just start getting it in, start that clock right away. But now I feel like I'm able to put my day down into fewer meals, have my calories, kind of more calories at one time, helps me with satiation, makes me feel more full. And in turn, it's just easier for my lifestyle. So people ask me all the time about intermittent fasting. And I tell them, look, if it fits your lifestyle, and if you have to eat all your food in a day in a 2-hour window, then so be it. It's just whatever makes this easiest for you to follow, right? There's way too many different opinions and varying techniques out there. It's so easy to get wrapped up in all the information being thrown at you. But really though, the most important component of all this is that you find a plan and you stick with it. And that is most likely going to happen when you are comfortable with that plan and it works for you. So that's the thing, you don't gotta overcomplicate this stuff, guys. I talk about it a lot, but don't major in the minor, because if you focus too much on the little things, you can blow the entire big picture. So good question, thank you. All right guys, we're gonna do a couple more and then I'm gonna wrap this up. From Chris, do you believe the sciences behind Under Armour to be true? I don't even know what that means, the sciences behind Under Armour. That it's stretchy? I think that's true, yeah. The moisture wicking technology? I think that's true. I don't know what that means. Elaborate on that one maybe for the next Q&A, buddy. All right, next question. From James Short on Twitter, we got 1, did you play any sports in high school? And 2, when did you start bodybuilding? Okay, so first answer to that, in high school, yes, I did play sports. I played football and I ran track and I basically lifted weights kind of over the winter, if you want to even call it that. I had a weight training class. I know my junior and senior year of high school, I weight trained as a class. So no matter what, I was getting some sort of lifting in high school. But I wasn't very good at football. I was actually, I probably could have been better to be honest, but my focus was not on that. I played a lot of video games and I goofed off a lot. I was kind of a class clown. So there are stories that I don't even want to get into right now of the conflicts I got into with my football coaches who absolutely hated me. They absolutely despised me because I was such a clown on the football field. But anyways, yeah, I played football and ran track. I was a sprinter. I'm still pretty fast, by the way. I was also never really good at that either. So I just never focused myself 100% on those when I was in high school, and I had other things I'd rather have been doing. So yeah, I played sports, but I just, no one had my name on the back of their shirt, if you get what I'm saying. And then 2, when did I start bodybuilding? I really got into this at about age 22. So I would say about 4.5 years ago is when I really got into it. So I started out extremely scrawny, extremely underweight. I just came off a crazy crash diet, was dealing with a lot of stuff personally, and the gym's kind of where I found my light, so to say. So there you have it. Thanks for the question, buddy. All right, guys, I think this is gonna be the final question from Alex Borzichuk. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but Borzichuk sounds about it. That's how it looks like it sounds. So anyways, thanks for your question, man. And it is a multi-part question. So when is it efficient to start a carb cycling diet as opposed to a lower carb consistent diet? And with a cycling diet, what days do you spread out your low, medium, and high carb days? Thanks, big dog. Keep up the amazing content and positivity. I love it. Thank you. Okay, so when is it efficient to start a carb cycling diet as opposed to a lower carb consistent diet? Okay, so really, you can do either or, right? Whenever. You could start carb cycling from the get-go if you really wanted to. I just think that when you do that, you're overcomplicating a process that does not need to be overcomplicated. I think carb cycling diets are best reserved when you're around single-digit body fats, maybe like 10, 11%, and you're trying to push through. The entire science behind carb cycling is super beneficial, especially the leaner you get. But you can get almost the exact same results if you just do a low carb diet. So really, I just think if you try to give someone a carb cycling diet that is not lean enough already, doesn't understand how to meal prep, and doesn't really have a good grasp of counting macros or doing any of the stuff, weighing their food, meal prepping, whatever, that you're almost just giving them way too much to do at first, right? So if you're used to dieting, if you're used to meal prepping, and you got all that stuff figured out, then carb cycling, yes, is a great tool. I've watched Nate get absolutely shredded doing it. I've watched Troy get absolutely shredded doing it. And I have gotten absolutely shredded doing it. And I find that I get my best results when I'm cycling low carb days, medium carb days, and high carb days. The best time to start, to answer your question, ultimately, I would say once you're closing in on single digit body fat and you're trying to make that final push, because carb cycling is not fun. Once you're a week or two into it, especially if you haven't had a cheat meal, you start to get tired, you start to get drained, you start to get lethargic, your brain doesn't work as right, your energy's low, you start to lose your sex drive. That's something people don't talk about. All sorts of stuff. So I think a standard low carb diet is beneficial up to a point. So second part of your question, what days do I separate low, medium, and high carb days? Basically, low carb days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, medium carb day, Thursday, Friday, low carb day, Saturday, high carb day, and Sunday, low carb day. That's how I've been doing it. Basically, I'll switch them around if I have something come up. So if I know I'm gonna be out and about and with friends, we're gonna be going out to dinner, I might make my high carb day that day. So that could be a Friday or whatever. Basically throughout the week, 5 low days, 1 medium day, 1 high day, trying to space the medium and high carb days a little bit out. That way the leptin response is better. So thanks for the support and question. All right, guys, I'm gonna answer one more question just because I like it. From Chris Bunton Fitness. Final one, by the way, I promise. Have you ever wanted to travel and where to? And then how do you always stay so positive, man? I love it and I always feel like I've been hit with a ton of energy after watching your videos. Okay, so have I ever wanted to travel? I really have, and I don't know if this is gonna be in the cards for me anytime soon, but I've always wanted to go to Europe. I've always wanted to see like Italy. I've always wanted to go to Germany. I've always just kind of wanted to see the world. I really have a fascination with going to Japan because I love the video game culture and all of that. Yeah, I love going and doing new things, and that's one thing is just all about like stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? And getting into situations that make you uncomfortable. Not saying that traveling necessarily would make me just scared out of my mind and uncomfortable, but it puts you in a position you're not normally in, and that's where you grow. So I plan one day, Remington J's Fitness will be big enough where I'll be able to travel the world. But until then, I think we're stuck here in this house forever. I'm kidding, hopefully not forever. How do you always stay so positive? You know what? For a good portion of my life, I was a little negative in almost all regards. And it kind of comes from my dad being a pretty negative guy. I don't want to say negative in the sense that like he's just down all the time, but just not really optimistic, right? And this kind of carried into me a lot, especially like when I went off to college and in high school. I used to just be extremely doubtful. I was scared to take chances because nothing was gonna work out. There was no reason to follow your dreams because no matter what, you were gonna fail. Just no optimism at all. And I had an epiphany, really I'd say it's about 1.5 years ago. And it just kind of changed the way I looked at things. And I decided that, you know what, the way that I've been doing things hasn't really been working. It's time to change the way I view the world, right? And I kind of started reading some books, started listening to some very knowledgeable people and taking stuff away from them, other successful people, and trying to figure out what they were doing differently. And what I have found that's changed my life dramatically is that no matter how you feel when you wake up, no matter what kind of day you're having, no matter what has happened, right? As long as you put that smile on and you put your best foot forward and you just go out and regardless of what's happened, you just don't let everything around you weigh you down, right? You just gotta be that shining beacon of hope in the middle of the storm that is all this. Like when you get on social media and you see just all the negativity, everybody's going through bad stuff, like you can look completely through my social media. There's not a single negative thing on there. And I've just found that the more positive energy you put out into the world, regardless of how you do it, whether that's smiling at a stranger, paying somebody a compliment, because you never know whose day you can make better, whatever that is, whatever positivity that is, whether it's advice, whether it's just whatever, the more you put out there, the more it reciprocates throughout the entire world and comes back to you. And I really do, some people are gonna, I probably have some people on here that don't really necessarily believe in stuff like that, but I do truly believe in karma. The more good you do, the more good you get back ultimately. So I attribute a lot of my success, especially the recent success, to the fact that I just try to remain positive and put that smile on no matter what the circumstance is. And I guess that once you do that long enough and you see the effect it has on the people around you and you see the effect that it has on your life and you just see the effect it has on just everything. Being happier in general, it might take a little bit of practice, but it's something you can train yourself to do. So if you're ever feeling down, smile. If you're ever feeling sad, make yourself laugh. Because there's a hidden power in actually like just forcing yourself to laugh. Do it right now. Right? That just made me feel a little bit better. And that might sound stupid, but the act of even laughing releases endorphins in your brain that make you feel good. The act of smiling, even when you don't want to, makes you feel good. So I think it's easy to get addicted to that positivity, and in turn, it just becomes a natural part of your routine. So to me, it's like waking up and putting my shoes on. It's just something I do, man. And it took some training, but we're here now. Anyways, that's gonna wrap up this Q&A, guys. I like doing this. If you guys think that maybe once a week I could answer some questions, sit down and we can do Q&As like this, comment below. Let me know if you like this style of video, just me sitting here riffing on questions, because I like it. I think it gives us some interaction too. You guys get to ask me questions, and in turn, I can reflect back onto you guys what I think, at least. And I don't claim to be some expert or anything like that. All I know is that I believe in what I say, and stuff I preach, I have most likely practiced it myself. So, you know, I'm only here to help people. So if you don't agree with any of the advice I give, then I apologize, but I'm just speaking from personal experience and what has worked for me. So, like I said, comment below if you want to see more of these videos. I appreciate the support as always. Don't forget to like my video. And yeah, thank you to everybody that participated, guys. I had a lot of fun. So I will see you guys at the next video. As always, don't forget to smile, remain positive, and pay someone a compliment, because you never know whose day you could be making better. With that, I am out of here. This has been a Remington James production. Thank you guys so much for all the support and all the love. It means the world to me. It really does. I will see you guys at the next episode. See ya.